Okay, so in the last video, we set up LSP, nice and simple, a few lines of code. What was it? It was something like 40 lines of code or something like that. We got full LSP working, and it also got completions working. Now, I didn't actually preview it in the video, I completely forgot. But if we just go into our file right now, if I do Control X, Control O, as you can see, we got loads of completions that we can do. Now, these completions are coming from the LSP server itself. So if you are on a different file instead of Lua, you'll get different completions based on that. And that all comes from your language server. So some language servers might provide snippets, some might not. Now, the way you could trigger this is Control X, Control O, like I just said, and it's not as convenient. So there is some small ways you can improve this. Okay, so if we do :h LSP attach, and if we search for autocomplete, and if we just come through some of these, there's a place in this help documentation where it mentions, here it is. So if we just grab this, paste it in here, I'll just talk you through quickly what it does. So basically what it does, when the LSP attaches, it gets the LSP client, it enables auto-completion for this client. So if we just remove this for now, this is for automatically formatting, which we're not too concerned about at the moment. It's beyond the scope of this video. As you can see, if the language server supports completions, then it's going to enable the completions. Now this part is what already is done by Mason LSP config. However, this additional part here, the Autotrigger true, is what we're looking for. So that means that whenever you start typing, you're going to get auto triggers. So if I restart and I go back to init.lua, and now if I do vim dot without pressing anything else, I didn't press Control X, Control O, it's already started doing things. So if I type LSP and I do another dot, it's getting me more stuff. So this basically means that you can trigger it much more fluently. So you don't have to manually trigger it every time. It's just going to trigger as you're coding along. Now, there is one caveat to this. If I do vim dot, as you can see, it's suggesting F, but if I don't backspace F, it's going to just put F in there as default. So there is a way around this. There's a little tiny line you can just add in that basically just disables on the completion it's selecting the first one. It's dead simple. You just will add that in. Yeah, we'll add that in at the end here. There's a vim command, just like that. And now if I source this, write first, then source it. And now if I do vim dot, it's not automatically populated with F. So I can continue typing things without it disrupting me. So if I wanted to type pack, and then boom, select it if I want it. I don't have to have it pushed on me if I don't need it. So that's perfect. But there is one thing that is lacking, and I will be honest. It is the fact that you can't view the documentation. So I like viewing the documentation. When I'm looking at it, I want to know what health does, I want to know what gsplit does. I want to be able to see it without having to go into the help docs to view what that function does. Similarly, it's not got a great amount of snippets, so you can't expand it with snippets like you can with LuaSnip. You can plug the snippets in. So if I just show you, let's add LuaSnip. So LuaSnip is a snippet engine that basically handles adding snippets to your Neovim, and you can use it with things like friendly snippets, and you can add your own VS Code type snippets in, which is very user friendly and very easy to do. So if we change in here, so if I source that, install LuaSnip, and I'll show you what it does. So if I do :LuaSnip now, snippet list available, as you can see, there is no snippets currently available for the Lua language server from LuaSnip. So we need a package or a plugin that will add to that for us, and that's where this next one comes in, friendly snippets. So if I just grab friendly snippets, I've got it open here. Similarly, we'll just put it in here, and then to load this, it also said just in here, we need to require lazy snip loaders from VS Code. So we'll copy that and we'll paste that at the bottom of the file. Write that, source that, and it will now ask if we want to install friendly snippets. Yes, we do. Now, if I do the same thing before, LuaSnip list available, it's going to show us tons of snippets that are now available. And if I open another file, such as a TypeScript file, and I do the same thing, it's going to show us tons that are specific to the TypeScript language also, as you can see. So if I do restart, actually, because I don't think we should see some, there we go, create racked functions, etc. like that. Nice and simple, easy. So that's great on paper, right? However, if I start typing, let's have a look at what one of them are. So the top one is time HMS. So if I look at that, if I do time, oh, there's nothing triggering. Remember, we set up triggering, so if I do like vim dot, it's going to start triggering. If I start doing time, nothing's triggering. Okay, let's do control X, control O. There's no snippet here. Now, the current Omnicomplete doesn't support adding more than one source. So the LSP is one source of the completion. You can't add another source, which is then the snippet engine. So that is one of the reasons why you will use a plugin like nvim-cmp, blink.cmp, mini completions, because then you can combine multiple sources. Similar, if you want Copilot in your suggestions, you're going to need to add another source, and you can't currently do that in OmniSnip. So that is where the next plugin comes in, and that is the reason why I don't think personally I could switch to just using fully native completions at the moment, because it doesn't support one, showing the documentation, and two, being able to just add snippets, because we can see the snippets are here, the snippets are loaded, but we can't add them to the suggestions, which is a drawback for me. So if I just jump to the blink CMP, let's go back to the GitHub. Yeah, let's copy this. And if we just paste that in here, blink.cmp.setup, and we can actually remove this LSP attached stuff now, because blink CMP does that manually. Similarly, we can get rid of this also. So now we just need to load the snippets and blink CMP. If we write that, we source that, install blink CMP. Now when we, let's ignore them for now. Now when we start typing, so if we do, what was it, time HMS? Look at that. We've got the snippet. Similarly, we also have the LSP ones from before. So these are these control X, control O default ones. And then if I just start typing, or if I do, I think it's control space, is it? Yes, control space triggers it. And yeah, now we have language server and snippets, and we can add multiple sources in here very simply. So if I then want to modify this a little bit, because I like being able to view the documentation, like I said. So if I do vim dot, if I'm looking, if I press control space again, that usually shows the documentation. So what I want to do is, in here, I will add some configurations. Signature enabled. So now if I do vim dot, and let's say we just go for this one here, press control space, it's going to toggle the documentation there, or the signature that we can view. And as you can see, if I start typing, as I'm typing, you can see that it's skipping through all the options as I enter them in, which is great. Similarly, as well as signature, we can add completion also for documentation. So if I just quickly drag this snippet in, if I add that snippet in, I restart, I go to the init.lua, and if I start typing something, if I do vim dot, and now as I'm scrolling down, it's automatically triggering the documentation as I'm typing. Okay, so now we set up LSP and auto completions. We've done it the native way, and we've done it with Blink CMP. Let me know which one you'll be using in the comments. Personally, I'll be sticking with Blink CMP because of the documentation and the signatures. I just find it invaluable when you're coding, especially when you're deep coding. Being able to just code and not have to jump to definitions to see what you're supposed to pass into functions is great. But who knows? Maybe they'll add this to Omnicomplete in the future, so we can view documentation and signatures and things like that while we're using it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Drop a like, do the rest. See you later.